You see, if there's a purple haze coming out of your exhaust, that means something is wrong. And Cary Lockwood wants to make it right with an organization called
YourAutoNetwork.com.
Which means
it's a place for the consumer to go at no charge and find high-quality automotive services.
if I went to it right now,
Yes.
right? If they cared enough about me to share a computer
Pat.
on this desk, and I went right to,
YourAutoNetwork.com.
yeah, okay, what would I find?
You're going to find a website, and then you're going to be able to select by service that you would like, zip code you're located in, to find a qualified shop that can do the service you're looking for.
Yeah, but if all of a sudden I find that I think I've been cheated and I go to the small claims court and I say, well, Cary Lockwood told me. See, who backs this up? Who tells me that these are the good people in town?
Well, that was our job before we started, to fully research firms that have been in business approximately 10 years or longer when it comes to auto
You've
repair.
done it individually, every shop?
Yes, our firm has done that. We've
Yeah.
thoroughly researched people. If you have any bad marks that you've never resolved, any complaints that were never resolved, you're not even invited to join. It's invitation only, and it's based on your qualifications, your reputation, and years of business. It's proven performance. It's like your doctor. You don't want the guy that's done. You don't want the first heart surgery. You want the 700th. And these are the shops that we've picked. They've done so much on vehicles for so long, and they have built a good relationship in the community, and they're first-class professionals.
But we have a personal responsibility ourselves as drivers,
Yes.
as automobile owners. So we can't just say, oh, well, my mechanic did this, right? We have to maintain our cars. But how do we know when it's time, though, to do that? I know the computer on newer cars
Right.
says, okay, here's a wrench. That comes up on your dashboard, and that says it's time to take it in.
Right.
What should we be responsible for? What kind of a schedule should we know about?
If you're good with your car maintenance, if you're good about getting it in every 3 months.
According to the manual, right?
Yes, according to your manual or according to your driving habits. If you get it in often, it's probably not going to be a big issue. But you have to find a trusted shop, and then when they say, hey, Mr. Jones or Mr. McMahon, I think you need to do this maintenance to keep this car not only reliable, but also safe. And that's the thing I kind of wanted to touch on today.
Yes.
How much the maintenance of a vehicle is tied to the safety.
How much?
Oh, very much so. I mean, maybe a month or so ago, there was a gentleman that had a flat tire and pulled off to the side of the road, and someone actually ran off the road and killed him. And many times a tire problem, a blowout, can be avoided by having those tires looked at in a timely fashion. And in Arizona, we're going to be 100 degrees. Who knows? A few weeks, it seems like.
It's really a big deal, though, with the tires. And it's the thing that we probably don't even consider a fraction of as often as we should.
Well, a lot of people think it's just the tread that's important. That is not the case. The sun load on these tires is excessive out here. The heat that's built up inside them when you're driving
But
on the
how
hot
are we going to
pavement.
be able to determine when that's causing a problem?
Well, a couple things. By taking it in often and having these things checked on a quarterly basis, your favorite shop is going to look at it and say, hey, you know what? We see cracking on the exterior of the tire. Or they'll check the date code on a tire. The date code is very critical. Many manufacturers actually recommend tire replacement at 6 to 7 years, regardless of where the tread is.
Boy, I saw a news story. You just reminded me. I saw a news story on one of the investigative shows just a couple of weeks ago about the fact that there are companies, because they don't think that you know what the date code actually is, or that there is even a date code.
Right.
And they're selling tires much older than you should be buying.
Right. And, it's unfortunate, but, this news has come out in the last few years about more and more about finding out what that date code is, and when you buy a set of tires, find out how old they are. And obviously, they're not going to be a week old.
No, but tires are perishable after a period of time?
Yes, sir, they are. And they are considered unsafe, beyond usually maybe 8 years. Some of the tire servicing centers, when you get to a 10-year point, they won't even touch them. They won't add air to them. They won't mount them, rebalance them, anything.
Okay,
because
but
they
all
know
right,
that.
so if I'm buying new tires or
Right.
even a new tire,
Right.
how do I check out the real age of that tire that's coming off the shelf supposedly new?
they should be able to tell you. You do need to ask that question. That's important that the consumer asks that question. It's like, okay, I'm buying this tire or this set of tires. Before you install them, you tell me when this tire was built, what week and what year, so you have a feel for how old they are. And a lot of times the tire might be 2 months old, 4 months old, 6 months old. And then you're going to have a good service life out of that tire. And the other thing that everybody forgets about, because everybody's driving their cars forever anymore. I mean, they're on the road, your average car's on the road now, I think 10 and a half years old. So what about that spare? That spare is way dangerous now. So if you've got an older car, then you've never had a flat and you've never used that spare, it doesn't matter. It's time to say goodbye to that.
See, Cary Lockwood, you know what? I never thought about it myself. And I don't have an older car, but it's still one of those things.
Very important to know.
I never think about the spare. It kind of is invisible in the trunk, and I never think about that. But you have to if you have to put one on.
No doubt about it. And then there's other maintenance-related things that, the economy's tight and people want to put off things as long as they can. But you got to think about when you get every last nickel out of your fan belt, or now it's a serpentine belt, that pretty much one belt drives everything on the car. That is so critical. If that belt fails, you're going to lose your power steering. You're going to overheat your engine rapidly. It's going to strand you. It might make steering the vehicle so difficult that you could put yourself into a panic situation or an accident situation. And it's just like something that cheap to do as far as car maintenance. It just needs to be done, and it needs to be, taken care of. When they say, when they say you need a belt, you're like, oh yeah. You need to, heed that warning. And if you have to ask the question why it needs to be replaced, and I always say that's a good thing to do, they're going to tell you, hey, it's too thin, we've measured it, or it has excessive cracking. But people are putting this stuff off, and it's compromising their safety, I think.
Well, boy, listen, if you're from Grand Forks and you've never gone through an Arizona summer,
right?
You drive around here and you see all of that rubber on the side of the road, or sometimes tragically in the middle of the road, and all of that stuff, tires that have just simply blown apart.
And if you've ever hit a chunk of tire on the road, I know I have, and I know even my dad did recently. And it did some damage to the underbody of his car.
Don't wait for damage to your underbody, or the underbody of your car for that matter. Cary Lockwood is here to tell you where to go for the proper service, and that's why we have him on here regularly on the McMahon Group. I'll be back in just a moment.
My cousins, on the other hand, dance hula in a group with the senior who wins the first statewide high school talent contest. Rubber slippers to the red carpet. I am only 12 when I see this beautiful football player slash hula god. And I've never seen hula kahiko before, the ancient style of hula. But when I see him on stage that night, I just know that's what I want to do. The stage